from the hit film Aquaman and the HBO series Watchmen, and here to read in an adapted version of Ed Weege Donica's 2007 testimony for the House Judiciary Committee's Subcommittee on Immigration, Citizenship, Refugees, Border Security. Please welcome Yahya Abdul Mateen II.
How y'all doing? It's woo! I love that sound. It's a pleasure to be here. I think this is definitely my second, possibly my third time coming here. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the invitation to come out and to recite powerful words. It's always important, I found, to put words back into the world. You know, important words, powerful words. We have songs, stories, history. It's important to reach back into pieces of our history, both distant and up close, and to put those back into our lives, because word is life. So this is a testimony for the House Judiciary Committee Subcommittee on Immigration, Citizenship, Refugees, Border Security, and International Law. Ed Weege Dontica. Thank you very much for the opportunity to submit for the record this testimony concerning immigration detainees and medical care. I write today not in my own name, but in the name and stead of a loved one who died in the custody of Department of Homeland Security and Immigration and Customs Enforcement officials and the Chrome Detention Center in Miami. His name was Joseph Nosius Dontica, and he was 81 years old. He was the patriarch, the head of our family. He was a father of 2, a grandfather of 15, an uncle to nearly 24 of us, a brother, a friend, and even after having survived throat cancer, which took away his voice, a minister to a small flock in Port-au-Prince, Haiti. He had been living in the same impoverished neighborhood in Haiti for more than 50 years when on October 24, 2004, United Nations troops and Haitian police forces launched a military operation there. Their goal was to oust armed neighborhood gangs. However, during the clash that followed, they used the roof of his church to fire at and kill more than a dozen of his neighbors. After these forces left the neighborhoods, because the shots had been fired from his roof, gang members came to my uncle's home and threatened to kill him. He was able to flee and eventually travel to the United States, where he had been a frequent visitor for more than 30 years. He had with him a passport and a valid multiple entry visa, which would have expired in 2008. However, because he requested what he termed temporary asylum, he was immediately arrested and taken to the Chrome Detention Center in Miami, where the medications he was taking for his high blood pressure and inflamed prostate were taken away from him. On the morning of his credible fear hearing, my uncle became ill as a result of this. To those who saw him, including his lawyer, he appeared to be having a seizure, and he began to vomit. Vomit shot out of his mouth, his nose, as well as the tracheotomy hole he had in his neck as a result of the throat cancer operation. The vomit was spread all over his face, from his forehead to his chin, down to the front of his dark blue chrome-issued overall. According to a report prepared by the Department of Homeland Security, 15 minutes passed before help arrived. When a medic and nurse arrived at the scene, the medic accused my uncle of faking his illness. To prove his point, the medic grabbed my uncle's head and moved it up and down. It was rigid rather than limp, he said. Besides, my uncle would open his eyes now and then and seemed to be looking at him. Later that morning, my uncle's condition worsened, and with manacles on his ankles, he was transported to Miami's Jackson Memorial Hospital. He was evaluated by a nurse practitioner at 1:10 p.m. At 4:00 p.m., he complained of acute abdominal pain, nausea, and loss of appetite. At 5 p.m., he was transferred to the hospital's prison area, Ward D. The records indicate that he was seen for the first time by a physician at 1 p.m. the next day, exactly 24 hours after he had been brought to the emergency room. At 7:00 p.m., after more than 24 hours of no food and sugarless IV fluids, my uncle was sweating profusely and complained of weakness. At 7:55 p.m., his heart rate rose to 110 beats per minute. An electrocardiogram was performed at 8:16 p.m. The next note on the chart shows that he was found pulseless and unresponsive by an immigration guard at 8:30 p.m. He was pronounced dead at 8:46 p.m. There are certainly many heartbreaking elements to my uncle's death. However, there are certainly moments when the medical system in detention failed him. During our efforts to see my uncle in his last days, we were constantly told that the Department of Homeland Security officials, ICE, and Chrome officials had the right to make decisions in his care. In that type of situation, this can mean that they literally have our loved ones' lives in their hands. Therefore, if our loved ones are sick, they should be treated. If they need emergency care, they should get it. They are called detainees, but really they are prisoners. As family members, we quickly learned that. But even prisoners deserve to be treated fairly and decently and humanely. This is what we consistently tell jailers of other countries. How about we practice some of it here ourselves? Immigration detention is one of the fastest growing forms of incarceration in the United States. Deaths in custody will only increase if we neglect to care for people who are withering away and dying unheard of and neglected. People like my uncle, who was not just alien number 270419999, but a father, a grandfather, a brother, and an uncle, a friend, a clergyman who was extraordinarily loved and greatly treasured and is missed every single day by those who loved him very, very much.